Hi there. This is H. Victoria Hogro Atkerson. I am an author and a writer, and we are here to continue our discussion about your first book. And we're going to do that today because we've done all of the things, the preliminaries we've talked about, doing, creating your outline, deciding on your subject matter, your characters, the environment you're going to situate your book in. And today we're going to talk about editing. Is one of the most important elements of writing. Now, for me, character development is crucial. And the next thing that I think is critical in your writing process is editing. Do not take it lightly because it is so important. The more I write, the more I see the need to edit. And I want you to do this for me. I want you to think about your whole process, everything that you've accumulated in your writing. Now, have you written your summary, your first draft, your second draft? Now, what I want you to do now is to do a third draft. You're going to try to reach 350 pages. Whether you use all of them or not, it doesn't matter. Just use that as a goal. Reach 350 pages. Once you do that, reread it, then pass it on to your readers. This time, I want you to find two people who are critical readers and also someone who has an English background that can help you out. And they can go over it for you and see some of your mistakes, some of the things you may have overlooked, or things that you may need to put in there to clarify your subject matter. Because sometimes you write and you think in your mind that you know what the reader will be reading, but that's not necessarily so. It takes a reader to tell you exactly what it takes to make those lines, those words, those paragraphs, and those chapters understood. So you need an objective person. You created it. That's true. And that's one of the first steps, but it takes an objective reader to really pull out the essence of your story. So do not overlook that stage because it's really critical that you get people who really have a critical eye, not just a friend that's going to just, oh, you're a great writer, you're terrific. You don't need that. You need a person to critique you. The harder the critique, the better. So get used to it because this is a pair, like an old pair of boots. You're going to be wearing them a long time. So editing, I want to tell you, is critical and it's like the meat and guts of writing. One of the most important things you will ever do for your book. This document that you created has now reached the process of the final stages. So editing is one of the final stages. So here we go. You're going to edit first for grammatical corrections. You're going to edit it to make sure everything is in order, literary style. Now, there sometimes you get people with the English background who may do editing according to the rules and regulations of grammar and the English language, but literary style is different. You have to be the editor of that. You have to monitor that to make sure it's in order that way. Now, we can give you some examples of that at a later date, but right now, for summary's sake, we're going to go with literary style is what your goal is. Now, to talk about editing, to tell you how absolutely critical this is. I think I told you, I love James Michener. He once said that he edits one page a day, but mind you, he was a very tenacious writer, and he also had assistants and a secretary working with him. I know I'm not there yet, and I don't know where you are in your process, but I wish you luck. If you can do that, I think it's great. Now, usually when I edit, I try to do one chapter at a time. I don't try to do the whole book. You have to break it down. If you can break it down to one page a day, baby, you are doing a marvelous job, and you're doing what the great ones have done. One page a day, make sure it's perfect before you get to the next one. That would be ideal. That's a goal of mine. So I can't say I've done that yet because I haven't gotten there. I must be honest with that. But my biggest suggestion to you when you edit is to edit from the back to the front, simply because you are relating to the words on the page, not the storyline. Once you get involved with the storyline, your vision sees what you want to see, not what's actually written there. That's why it's so important for you to print that document out. Do not read it on the computer at this stage. You need it printed out, because a lot of times we see things on the on our computer that is not really there, or we envision it, we imagine it. You need paper and a pencil, paper and pens, red pens, blue pens, whatever you do. Put your corrections down on that paper and do that. Go through that process. Get in a comfortable chair in bed, wherever you like to edit, and read it critically from back to front. Once you finish that process, you want to go from front to back, and one page at a time or one chapter at a time, and just go through that. You need to do that at least 3 times. I do back to front, and then front to back, and I do back to front again. So then you want to ask your friends, whoever it is that you have editing your book with you, have them do the same thing. So, and it's just a great tip because it keeps everything objective and concentrating on what's on the page, not what's in our mind. Our imagination creates for us sometimes when we're reading. So you want to make sure we're seeing exactly what you want on that page. It's really critical. So do the editing, and just as a guideline for you, now I can write a book, say in 30 days, back to front, outline summaries, all that nonsense, okay? But the editing, baby, it can take you up to 2 to 3 years to edit a book. So be ready for the challenge, because it is a challenge, and it's a challenge because you're going to be making something great. Writing is forever. So let's take our time and do this. Concentrate on it. Don't rush the process because it won't serve you well. Okay? So let's take a break. After you edit that paper at least 3 times, back to front, then front to back, then back to front again. Set it aside, let it rest somewhere. Have your friends help you out. Let them read it. Tell them to make comments on the page. Put on comments whether this makes sense, this does not make sense. You're going to look at the logic of your writing. Is it logical? Does it make sense for a character to do A, B, and C? Or does it fit another character? Or is this important information that you need to put out there? Have you made this clear? There are hundreds of questions. Remember the old adage, answer the questions when you write. What is it? When did it happen? How did it happen? Why did it happen? Okay? Those are things that you need to always answer when you're writing. So let's get busy. Okay? I hope that's helpful to you, because editing to me is like the nuts and bolts of writing. So just get busy and don't be upset by it. Don't get depressed by it. Just use it as a challenge and let's get through it. Okay? It's very important, very critical. Okay? Now you take care, and love to you. God bless.